Hello, everyone. Welcome to another expert conversation with me, Emmy, here in Self Publishing Made Simple. And I'm really so excited about this conversation. We have one of our amazing graduates from the Get It Done Challenge, and she's here to talk about self care because I think this is something that many of us fail to do. We're so busy looking after our families, our businesses, writing a book that sometimes we forget to look after ourselves. So I think we can have this conversation around self-care and actually how you could also inject a little bit of writing even if you're trying to juggle all of these things up in the air as well. But before we get into that, let me just give you a little bit of a background for our guest today. She is a certified wellness coach, a certified women's empowerment coach, a keynote speaker, and a human resources consultant. She's the founder of Empowered for Balance and the number one best-selling author of Self Care Made Easy. She works with women who are spinning multiple plates and looking for more fulfillment, purpose, and balance in their lives. I mean, for sure, this is something that we all crave for. We do look for balance in our lives. So I think this conversation is going to be absolutely fantastic. So without further ado, let's all welcome Amma Brew. Hi, Amma.
Hi, how are you?
Good, good. I'm really excited about this conversation. And, another graduate from the Get It Done Challenge, someone who made it to number one bestseller. So, I'm absolutely excited to catch up with you and have this conversation with you now that you've already published your book.
Yep. I'm super excited to be here too, and thanks for having me.
Well, Amma, so tell us a little bit about your background. For those who haven't heard about you before, what exactly do you do and how did you get into this position that you are in now?
Awesome. I have a first degree in psychology, and I have a master's in organizational leadership with a specialization in human resource management. And so I've always had that, passion for people development, human development, helping people become people, better people. So I wanted to be a human resource guru in a Fortune 500 company. But when I started having kids, I realized that it was going to be a hard thing to do because
Mm.
the thing about the American corporate world is that it's either you're giving in your all or you're not really going to rise because they demand a lot from you. And I kept going through those cycles of stress and burnout, trying to combine because I'm a mom of twins and I have a daughter, so I have three kids.
Mm.
So, trying to combine kids with corporate world, with my own personal life, with also being a minister's wife, it was hard. It was so hard. So at a point, I realized that one thing needed to go or something needed to go. So I let go of the corporate world to start my first home business, which was a home daycare, which did very well. But I realized that I started going through those same cycles of stress and burnout
Mm.
again. And that is when I realized that, the stress and the burnout wasn't coming from being in the corporate world, but it was coming from how I was managing myself as a woman.
Mm.
Because my aha moment came when I started researching and I realized that the word self care didn't even exist in my vocabulary. How much more even stress management and burnout, because I was just
Self care on its own is
going.
not there. Yeah.
Exactly. I was just going, trying to be everything for everybody in my bid to be a virtuous woman and to be the best mom and the best wife and the best everything to everybody. So that is when I realized that there is a problem and I sought the help and realized that this is something that a lot of women struggle with. So I decided to get certified as a coach.
Mm.
So I got certified as a wellness coach and a women's empowerment coach through an ICF accredited program. And so now I am on a mission to empower women to wellness. So I believe that a lot of us women are striving for women empowerment, but the best empowerment we can have is our own wellness. Because when we are healthy and strong and well, we have that peace of mind, we have the clarity to actually set the right goals and even pursue those goals with our strength. So that is what I am doing now. And this is the whole background of how I got to where I am now.
That's
Yeah.
amazing because you actually had to go through that
Yep.
experience yourself, to experience burnout. And
Mm,
now you are in a position where you actually learned where that imbalance came from and how you can actually look after yourself, because if you don't look after yourself, how are you going to look
Mm,
after everybody else? So you know,
exactly.
you took the steps, and here you are now. And I have to say, Ama, I'm glad that you excuse me, that you wrote your book Self Care Made Easy, because this is something that I suppose women might forget to do, and you've condensed them into something that is really practical and easy to digest for busy women. You
Yep.
know, that's what that's who you're targeting, right?
Yep. Yep. So I'm targeting busy women, but mostly busy women of faith or busy Christian women because, I talk about 5 areas of self-care. And when I talk about spirituality, when I started writing, let me go a little deeper. When I started writing the book and I was writing the spirituality part of it, I realized I was struggling because I was trying to write it for everybody else,
Mm,
but then I realized that the best way I could articulate was to express what I have experienced myself spiritually. So that is why I realized that, okay, I need to actually write this for the woman who has some form of faith, or the busy woman of faith, because that is how I can really articulate myself and express myself and talk about spirituality and go deeper into it than just talking about a general form of spirituality. Yeah.
yes, I think we've had this conversation in length, inside
Yeah.
the Get It Done challenge, because you were trying to find whether you should go for very specific for women of faith, or just to have this all encompassing self care, and we've made that choice. Well, you've made that choice to have it for women of faith, and particularly Christian women. Is that correct?
Yes.
Because this is your background, you can really articulate, being a minister's wife as well, you can really draw upon what you experience, and have it there on the pages of your book. What were sort of the what was the dilemma initially when you were making this choice?
Yeah, for me, I think that I had a lot of, I was going through a lot of what ifs because a part of me was telling me, hey, the best way you can express yourself as a writer is to really niche down and know exactly who you're talking to. That way, when you're talking, you can talk boldly and be more authoritative in the sense of what you're talking about. And another part of me was like, hey, if you tag the book as a Christian book, then maybe you might never hit bestseller, and then also you might never even get any sales because nobody will want to write the book. So I was going through that conflict inside of
Mm.
me. So then I got to a point and I realized that, do I want a book where I can really express myself and talk to that woman that I can connect with? Or do I want a book which appeals to the whole world but might not have the substance, it might not have that, that the information in there. Because when I was trying to write it for everybody out there, I realized that the book didn't have a lot of substance. I was
It was
missing it.
bland.
Exactly. I was missing a lot because my voice as a writer was not really being expressed in it. So making that choice, honestly, it was a very bold choice. I remember we went through that. We talked about that over and over, but I was scared, but I still did it anyways because I told myself I would rather go for a book where I'm really expressing myself and I'm articulating my voice. I want to find my voice as a writer. And then I also told myself that there are 1,001 books and millions of books on Amazon, and not all of them are Christian, and not all of them are even just plain books. Some of them are different religions. And so everybody has who they're trying to talk to. And I also did the research and I realized that there wasn't even one book on Amazon that was actually written specifically for Christian women in
Yes.
self-care. There was nothing like that. There were other books which were either general or other stuff like new age stuff and stuff
Mm.
like that, but there was nothing Christian. So that gave me the confidence that, okay, then I'm going to be the first person to do it, to have a specific book written for this specific audience, so that when that Christian woman goes on there to find a book on self-care, mine is going to pop
It's
up and tell them,
you.
hey, this is for you.
Yes.
This is for you. You're a Christian woman. This is for you. Because a lot of us, make do with other ones because we're like, okay, then we'll
There's
just make do
nothing
with other
else.
ones.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I would say that it was that dilemma and the fear that it wouldn't do well. But overcoming it and looking at the positive sides of it gave me more confidence. And also talking to you as the coach, the writing coach, made it a lot easier for me to make that decision.
I
Yeah.
have to say, yeah, having that conversation, if I was in your shoes, I would have done the same thing because if you're going to try to target and be that person who actually writes the book for that specific audience, you might not probably will not appeal to everyone.
Mm,
There would be some readers who will be put off by seeing that it's for the busy Christian woman because they don't really have the same faith as you. So they will steer away from your book, but they're not really your target audience. By being clear who you're talking to, you'll be able to connect better
yep.
to your audience. And when you've made that decision and the following conversations, you just light up. It's like, yeah, I'm talking to my people. This is
Exactly.
my truth. Some people might not like it, but the ones who would like to hear this and who need to hear this will get most value from it.
Yeah, yeah. And one thing I also realized was that when I finally made that decision, I was able to add double of what I had already written. Because
Right.
now it's like, I just had the flow. I knew who I was talking to. And I was even given better examples because I knew specifically what this person or this woman that I'm targeting is really going through. So it made it a lot easier to even write more. So I was even able to add more to the book and more substance to the book than I had in the beginning. So I think the
Wonderful.
targeting is very important. And I feel like it has also allowed me to find my voice, my unique voice as a writer and even as a coach, you know, because then I started even analyzing that, yes, I am a coach for all women. I don't discriminate. But most of the people who get attracted to me are usually women of faith. So then I realized that, oh, okay, I looks like even niching a little bit more down. Yes, I'm happy to coach everybody, but I feel like I'm able to connect even better with other women of faith because it's that one thing that gives us that connection. So for me, I think that it's good for us as writers to figure out what are unique voices and who is that specific person that we're trying to connect with, and it makes it easier even to write.
Yeah, it made your book clearer. You know
Yeah.
who you're talking to, and as a result, it actually rippled into your practice as well. Really knowing exactly how you're going to connect. You're not trying to please and serve everybody. Of course, you
Yeah.
can, but
Yeah.
by understanding that unique connection, you will become the go-to person for that busy Christian woman who needs a
Exactly.
bit of self-care. So it's very, very specific, but there's a lot of women in that particular category, and you are the
Mhm.
one that pops up when they search for it on Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. So, Amma, when it comes to self care, and you call it self care made easy, what do you think is the one thing that makes us neglect or forget about looking after ourselves?
So one thing that I have realized is that the word self-care is really misconstrued. And there's a lot of misconception about self-care because a lot of times when you hear self-care, a lot of people say, "Hey, it's luxury. I can't afford it." I remember I was doing another recording. That was a Facebook Live, and somebody just came and they just commented, "Self care is expensive. I can't afford it." And I was like,
Mm,
You see, so and it's funny because I've had that conversation over and over and over again with women, and I realized that the biggest issue is that there's a huge misconception about what self care is because people think that if they have to do self care, then it means they have to spend money. They need to take a week or two off, go somewhere, spend a lot of money, or buy expensive stuff for themselves, go to an expensive, luxurious spa. So it's luxury. Self-care is associated with luxury. And
like
even out there on
indulgent.
the
Yeah.
media, yeah, on the media, when we see self-care, usually it's some person in a luxurious place, either on a vacation or on a first class, plain seat or something, drinking wine, or it's usually luxury. But
Mm.
what I'm trying to do with this book is to let our women realize that you can still practice self-care without spending a dime, not even a
Mm.
cent, no money,
Mm.
you know, because self-care is simply refueling yourself. Because I always use the bottle analogy that when we have bottles, I have a bottle here that I'm drinking from and there's water in it. The more I'm drinking from this bottle, the more it becomes empty.
Mm.
All right. And we women are like bottles, and the water in the bottle is our energy. So the more we are engaging in things that drain us mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, the more we are getting drained and the more we are becoming empty. And we get to a point where when our energy is gone, then we get burnt out. That's how burnout
Yeah.
happens.
And
So
that's dangerous. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And it's not even good for the brain because there's brain signs attached to that, the limbic system and the
Mm.
prefrontal cortex, because it also affects our ability
Judgment
to
and
to
yeah.
judgment, to make the right decisions, to set the right goals. So for me, self-care is that opportunity to refill our bottles. When your bottle is getting empty, automatically you take it to the pipe or to the water fountain and you fill it up.
Refill. Mm.
Exactly. So, in the same way, self care is our way of refueling ourselves. And there's so many activities that we can do to refuel ourselves without spending any money. The spending of the money is like the higher end of self care. But if you can't afford that high end, there are ways that you can actually start it so that you can get in the groove. And then one day, when you have that chance to take that vacation or buy those expensive stuff, then you can, do that. So I think that the thing that makes this so difficult for a lot of people to practice self-care, going back to your question, is the misconception about
Yeah.
what it is. A lot of people don't really know what self-care really is. And that's what this book does. It's to break it down, unpack it, let you realize that this is simple. It's a very easy thing, and you can actually start it no matter how busy you are. Even if you're the busiest person in the world, you can practice some form of self-care.
Wonderful. And I
Yeah.
have to say, Amma, thinking back through the process when we were preparing the cover for your book, I remember your first cover was like women with cucumber, or was it like they are in a spa? And I was
I
wondering,
remember that.
Amma, I'm not really sure this is the right cover for your book
Yep.
because it doesn't really, it looks appealing, it looks neat, it's fine, but I don't think that it fits the essence of your book.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I remember that, and I'm so happy I took that advice. Because yes, the person who designed it did. You see, the first thing that came to her mind was cucumbers.
Yeah, like with cucumber and with the towel, and I think that's what I remember.
Exactly.
Like going on a spa, I like
I
she had
remember
like
that.
rocks on her
Yeah.
back or something. And I'm
Exactly.
thinking, yeah, I think that's the usual idea
Idea.
of what
Yeah.
self-care means, but
Yeah.
I don't think this is what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a lot deeper. It's a lot deeper because I talk about 5 areas of self-care: mental self-care. What do you do to grow your mind? And also, what do you do to de-stress your mind? Emotional self-care. Are you able to identify your emotions and deal with them? Are you emotionally intelligent? And with emotions that are even deeper, are you seeking help? Sometimes you
Mm,
have to go to therapy. Sometimes you have to go into counseling or something, see a professional
have
who's
that
trained
support. Yeah.
exactly to help you deal with those emotions, because a lot of these emotions are affecting us in different ways and we are harboring them, and we are using indulgences, like smoking, alcohol,
Mm,
drugs, sugar, food, all these things just to numb those emotions, when in reality sometimes it's best to just deal with them and let them go. So I talk about emotions, I talk about social self-care. Do you have a good support system? Who are the people in your inner circle? Are you engaged with toxic people, or are you engaged with positive people? So that's one thing. And then the fourth one is spiritual self-care. What do you
yeah.
do to grow yourself spiritually, to nurture yourself? Because your body, soul, spirit. You can't just take care of your body and your soul and not take care of your spirit. So you need to nurture yourself spiritually. And then physical self-care. And that's usually the usual stuff that a lot of us know, being healthy, taking breaks, taking naps. drinking water, stuff like that. So these are all the 5 areas of self-care. But a lot of people are doing self-care and they're just doing just one area,
Yeah.
neglecting all the other areas. And that is why it's not even effective. But when you have a good strategy in place where you're doing a bit of each area of self-care, maybe you do more of the other. Like for me, physical self-care is the one thing that I really lack at. And so it's one thing that I'm constantly trying to get on top of, so maybe you might have an area that you're not doing too well at, so you might do more of that, but you also have to do all the other areas of
But
self-care
it's
to get
you
you that
have that
relief.
awareness as well, and making
Exactly.
sure that it's not just one aspect of self-care,
Yep.
but you all have. And I have to say, I can see why it is also linked to faith, because especially when you talk about the body and the spirit, and looking after your body as well, as a temple. What do you call it in the Christian sect? Is a temple
Your
of
body is the temple of the Holy
yeah, of the
Spirit.
Holy
Yeah.
Spirit. So you have to take care of your body as well. So I
Yeah.
can see how you can actually tap into your faith and to your
Mm,
going back to the scripture and so on. And I can see how women of faith could relate to that, especially if
yeah.
they are practicing it already. It makes it more relatable and applicable to their experience.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yes,
That's
and,
true.
and and I'm glad. I absolutely love your cover now. I have to say,
Yeah.
from the first cover that you did, it looked neat. It's okay, but it's too generic. But what
Yeah.
you have now, the color scheme, the keyword. I think this is something that I talk a lot about in the Get It Done challenge, and actually inside the group generally the cover, the keywords need to pop as a
Yeah.
thumbnail on your and then I can see there behind
Yeah.
you
It's right there.
self-care.
Yeah.
It's just you can see it immediately. Self-care, it's there. And for someone who's browsing on Amazon, it pops and it will appeal to your particular audience. And I
Mm,
do remember you did have several
yeah.
covers to choose from. What made you
Yeah.
choose this one?
I don't know, but when I saw this, I was just drawn to it. I like colors. I like bold, bright colors. And this one was just the one thing that I liked it,
Yeah.
and my head was drawn to it. And talking about the cover, I'm so happy that I invested in, yes, it was expensive getting the cover done professionally, but I'm happy that I invested in it because it's a one-off thing. It's done and I own it for good. And it's funny because you remember I was showing you my planner because we've been able to even take the
Yeah,
cover and even
incorporated.
incorporate it. So it's like my own branding right there. So I think that for anybody writing the book, things like the cover, things like the format, and those things are, yes, it's expensive in the beginning, but you really have to invest in it because the book is yours for life. This book is,
Mm.
if for as long as Amazon exists, this book can sit there and it will be like passive income. I might not necessarily even have to do any marketing for it, but once in a while I could still make more money even if I've forgotten about it and I'm old and I've moved on
It's
because
there. It's
it's
an
there. It's an
asset.
asset. Exactly. So putting in that investment up front to get a quality work done is better than just trying to get something on there and later on a few years down the line feeling like, oh, I should have done better. Oh, it should have been more quality work. So for me, I think that it was worth the investment. It was a big investment, but I think it's worth it.
And I think it ripples as well. As you've said, now you're incorporating it into your brand. And I absolutely love the colors. It pops, it feels fresh, it feels aligned with what you are trying to share in your book as well, without the cucumbers and without the cucumbers and
The
the
cucumbers.
towels and so on.
Yeah.
But it's you invested. And even if Amazon doesn't exist in the future, you still have that asset. you
Yeah.
you you have it with you, and you can keep selling it or make it as part of your branding and as part of your funnel. And before we started this interview, I absolutely love your future plans. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that you already got the number one bestseller. You got your number one bestseller badge. The whole community celebrated with you when you got your number one bestseller badge. But after that, you're thinking about having like box sets or
Yep.
what? Yeah,
Yep.
well, tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, so I created the planner. Let me show it. So based off the book, I created a self-care planner to go with the book. So this is the planner. It's 1 year
Oh,
undated.
I
So
love
you see it has
it.
the same branding, but this one says weekly planner. So it's 1 year undated. So it's an evergreen planner. I don't have to do it again. It's done. Every
It's
year
done.
I
It's
can just sell
there.
this. Yeah, it's there. So I'm doing this and then I'm finding like, planner accessories, like girlish stuff, to go with it. And what I'm gonna do is that I'm creating gift certificates. So I'm as a coach, I'm doing the 2 hour self-care intensive strategy. So you get that certificate with the book. So the whole thing comes together as a package, and that way I can even sell it bigger. And the book, I can even sell the book at a much higher value. And so what I'm trying to do here is that when you get the whole set, then you can have 2 hours with me where we are talking, we are building your self-care strategy based on all the
Mm,
5 areas of self-care. I'm going to show you how you
to
implement
use
that with
it.
your planner, and
Yeah.
you can use it for 1 whole year to get yourself doing the self-care thing. So it's a whole strategy that I'm
it's
building with my
it's
marketing person.
implementable. It's not just
Exactly.
reading a book and then say, "Oh yeah, that's a good idea." And then
Yeah.
you put it on your shelf.
Mm,
By having this book and then you have the planner and then to have the strategy session with you, what you learn from the book you can actually apply
yep.
and use in your life. And what I love with when I saw your plans and your passions, like, wow, you wrote your book. It's an asset, but you're actually incorporating it as part of your business strategy, as part of
Yeah.
your wider coaching practice.
Mm,
And it's the book is one component, and you're carrying it forward and using it as part of your funnel.
yep. Yep. And one thing is that now it's even so easier for me to sell my coaching because, we human beings are funny. We like to have tangible stuff. And the
Mm.
thing with coaching is that it's a service. So sometimes it's hard to really show this person what you really have to offer. But now it's like when I'm talking to potentials or leads, it's like, hey, you sign on to coach with me. I'm giving you that. You're getting the sessions, but I'm also giving you the book. You're getting a planner. You're getting the so it's like all of a
Yeah,
sudden it's like,
it's
okay,
real.
it's real. Exactly. This it's tangible. So I think that anybody who is a coach who can write should invest in writing a book or something because it gives you something for somebody to hold on to. And it's funny because I've gotten certain calls, free strategy session calls, lead calls coming in through the book because people read the book and they liked it and now they want to talk to me to figure out if they want to work with me. So I think that it's for the long term, it's a good, marketing strategy to use also. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Because from what I've noticed, there are some aspiring authors who hold off writing their books because they say, "I'm busy growing my
Mm,
business. I'm busy doing my marketing plan, and I'm busy doing this, that, and the other." And what they don't realize is that having a book can be part of their marketing strategy. They write the
yep.
book, it's there for life, it's an asset. And with you, now that you are a number one best-selling author, you have it in your branding, you have it
Yep.
in your bio, you can have it on your website, and you can, people can discover you at a
Yep.
low price. The book is not expensive, it is a low investment to buy a book. They get to know, like, and trust you because they feel as if they know you already because they can hear your voice
Yep.
through your book. So,
Exactly.
you are a good, fantastic example of how writing a book can actually help your business in the long term.
Yep, yep. And you remember that when I was initially I had said I'm gonna wait to do it in January.
Mm.
And then I took the plunge. I was like, okay, because I had the same excuse that, oh, I'm busy. I'm getting certified. And at that time I was now writing my exam for the certification and all that and trying to build the business. So I kept telling myself that not now, maybe next year. But I'm so happy that I took the plunge because it's so funny because now this book has also led to a podcast and a YouTube channel.
Yes.
because now with everything and with the feedback I'm getting, people want more. So it's like, okay, then we're going to do a podcast where we can talk a little bit more about these things. And then that way it also helps increase the visibility of the business, So yes, and on the podcast, I can also market the business and the book. So it's all revolving around.
It's all
Yeah,
coming together, and because
exactly.
you actually have something out there and people
Yeah,
can see it. Here's the thing, there are some authors, yeah, they will take the plunge, they publish their book and nobody finds their books. But in
yeah,
your case, we really took the time to optimize it, to launch it properly, even to have free days, where people
yeah,
can download your book for free. But as a result, they discover you, and they discover how great you are and
yeah,
how much they can relate with you. And now these new fans can tell more people about you, and it just
exactly.
ripples from there. You hear from them, you get feedback from them, and you grow and nurture your business as a result of interacting with real people rather
Yep,
than just having something in your head and
exactly.
being afraid to do something with it.
Yep, yep. And it's funny, let me also add this, that I have a friend who also, does coaching, and she does events. So she did an event last month and she featured the book. So the book was one of the things that she offered to the people who registered for the event. So that's also another way that, we can use a book, because then now you can use this book for features in people's programs, people's conferences, and all that. Yeah, and I like the fact about the optimization, because even choosing the categories, I didn't even
Mm,
know that I could list a book in 10 categories, because it only gives you two.
that's
So
right.
if I hadn't gone through this whole thing, I'm sure that yes, it would have been a good book, but it wouldn't have even gotten all the visibility that it got. Yeah. So I think that the system that we used was very helpful. It was very helpful. And now I can always, repeat it again, because the other book is in the works now, and I can always rinse and repeat the same system, and I know it's going to work. So I think it's an awesome, yeah, the Get It Done challenge is good. And one thing also is that, remember, initially I was concerned that because it's a group, I may not get the support
Yeah,
that
because
I
it's not
need.
one to one.
Exactly. It's not one to one, but I feel like I was really supported, because I could always even send you a voice note on Facebook
Messenger.
Messenger, and you would reply. So it was like we're doing walkie-talkies. So yeah, so I think that
But I have to say, Emma, with the support, I love that the people that I'm attracting are mostly coaches,
yeah,
and they are very supportive, warm, amazing people who actually help each other.
yeah,
So it's a community, and I have to say it does make my life so much easier because when my students help each other and you have that accountability and support as a community, it makes it lighter and
yeah,
enjoyable, for everyone. And even though some people will launch their books earlier than others, others might launch their books weeks later, you can follow each other's journey and
yeah.
celebrate together, and that's why I absolutely love the Get It Done challenge, because in the past I only had the course. Like, you can
Mm,
take my course, get on with it, and you have questions, ask me. But with the Get It Done challenge, because we had the community and the
yep.
people that I attract, I love it. I don't know how I do it, but I just attract amazing, warm, friendly people. It just makes the experience so much more enjoyable and pleasant for everyone.
And I've made a couple of nice connections also through that, where, because now with a lot of, people, these people, when I see their post, I'm liking it. Anything, as long as I see the name, I'm liking it. Even if
I know
sometimes I don't
this
even read
person.
it,
Yeah.
And I also realize that some of them also like my stuff, because now we have that connection there. I know you, we work together, we did all this together. So yeah, it's a good way of networking too. Because sometimes when you're a small business owner and a
Mm.
coach, you might be in isolation. You need to have some form of networking going for you too. So I think it's a good way of networking. Yeah.
Yeah, having all those connections and so on. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure working with you through this book and seeing you through this journey. I absolutely love witnessing that. And now that you are growing your business, you're using your book, making the most out of it. And I can see just amazing things in front of you now that you are a number one best-selling author on Amazon. You have this asset for life and you can just carry on. And as you've said, rinse, repeat
Yep.
if you want to do more. So if you have a message to those other coaches, business owners who are making an excuse and saying, oh, I haven't got time for this. I'm too busy growing my business. I have a lot of other priorities. I'm going to do my book next year, or maybe I'm going to do my book a long time from now. What do you have to say to them?
I think that, if whoever, if you're a coach and you really, really, really have that dream, or you have a book in you that you know you want to write, just take the plunge because, I'm a mom of twins and I have a daughter. I have three kids, building a business with the kids being home. But I was able to write this through this pandemic, with the pandemic going on, within 12 weeks. So what I would say is that just take the plunge, but what makes the journey easy is if you work with somebody, because I don't think I would have been able to do this in 12 weeks if I had tried doing it myself. But having that, community and having somebody work with me made it easier because I knew that, okay, and you break it up in weeks. So it's like every week I know what I'm doing and I know I only have to spend 3 to 4 hours in the week doing it. So I just scheduled it, made time for it, and I got it done. So I think that writing the book is very good because coaching is a service, and sometimes it's hard to articulate what you have to offer. But when you have something in the book that you can show, then it makes it easier because then it's like, hey, this is me, this is my book. This is a starting point. Get to know me through the book, and then we can talk and see if it's a good fit. And so now I don't really have to talk much, and try to convince people because when people come my way and they're not too sure, I'm like, hey, have you checked out my book? Read it. Let me know if you like it, and we can talk more. And
Mm.
it does the work for me because the work speaks for itself. So I believe that every coach out there who has a book in them or who feels confident that they are ready to write a book should just take the plunge. You can get it done. You don't necessarily have to give it a lot of time. Just make it, time for it in that 12-week session and get it done and then move on with it. Yeah.
Wonderful. That's amazing. I love that, just get it done. And the thing with the book is, yeah, it helps to even clarify for you what you're all about, the
Yes.
strategies, it puts it all
Yes.
there. And as you've said, you don't actually have to talk much anymore because they can check it out themselves. And if they can relate, if they like it, then you have that connection already, and they can continue working with you on the basis of them knowing, liking, and trusting you because they've read your book.
Yep. Yep.
Wonderful. Well, Ama, if people would like to connect with you or learn more about what you do and what you have to offer, where can they find you?
So I have a Facebook and Instagram. Okay, well, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Pinterest is Empowered for Balance, all one word. And then my website is www.empoweredforbalance.com. I also just started a podcast, which is also Empowered for Balance. So everything is Empowered for Balance. So just Google Empowered for Balance, and I'll show up in different ways.
They'll find you. So just Google "empowered for balance" and you'll find Amma there. But I'll also leave the details in the description so you can connect with Amma, or just leave some comments in the comments below. And we are
Hmm.
all in this group anyway, and Amma is in this community, so you can just connect with her that way as well. So thank you very much, Amma, for joining us today, and thank you everyone for tuning in today. If you are interested in joining the next cohort of the Get It Done Challenge, it's a 12-week program that will help you to plan, write, publish, and launch your book to number one bestseller. Maybe you don't even know your niche yet. And, for us, Amma and I, we've had this really lengthy conversation inside the Get It Done challenge to really encourage her to niche down. And now that she's niched, she's it's clear, it's a
Mm.
it lights her up, and she can make that deeper connection with her clients now. But if you want to join the next cohort, we start in January 2021. Simply go to tinyurl.com/I will get it done. And yes, we will do that 12-week program. We have weekly coaching calls to make sure that you are accountable and you stay on track. We'll take it one step at a time, week on week, so you don't feel overwhelmed about doing everything all at the same time. As Ama would testify, there's so many things, right? There's so many things to do, and it can get overwhelming. But we'll take it a step at a time. We'll do it together. We'll hold you accountable, and having a community makes it so much more enjoyable, so much more pleasurable. And when you do publish, when you do launch, and you will get it to number one, I will make sure that you do. You will get honest feedback from me. I'm sure Amma got a lot of words from me when I first saw her cover, and encourage her to change that. I want my students to succeed, and when they do, we celebrate together, and just gives me so much joy when that happens. So if you want to check it out, it's tinyurl.com/I will get it done, and we start in January 13th of January 2021. All right, thanks again, Ama. Thanks everyone for
Thank
tuning
you.
in. We'll catch up again next time for another expert conversation with me, Emmy, here in Self-Publishing Made Simple. Until then, take care everyone, and bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.